Hi guys, it's Sarah of Sarah's Tarot, and I am here to make another video because I have 2 hours before I have to go to school and I don't know when else I'd be able to record this. So it is time. So I was on Instagram the other day and I saw Jay. You can't see this hand as I'm pointing, even though Jay's not here. I was talking to Jay, or I saw a post that Jay from Iridescent Tarot made, and they were revisiting their top 10 indie decks. And I was like, wow, I haven't done this video in almost 2 years. I should also rethink about that. And I meant to make a list of my videos, of my decks from last time, but I may be able to pull that up really easily. So we'll see in a second. But I figured I should remake it. And Jay was like, you totally should do that. I think someone else was like, you should absolutely do that. So here I am, and I'm gonna do that. So, okay, I'm gonna see if I can bring up my list from last time. Okay, I have it up next to me. So the decks mentioned in my last top 10, which was, I don't even know when I made this. I think it was December 2023. So 2 years ago, yeah. So it was the Alpaca Tarot, the Lily White Tarot, Cosmic Visions, Sasori Beto, Spacious Tarot, Starseeker Tarot, Mystery Deck, Groovy Weight, Luminous Spirit, Simpsons Tarot, Rain Shadow Tarot, and that's it. Was that 10? I don't know if I just miscounted. But those were my decks from last time. So now I can put my laptop away and we can get on with this. So I don't have these in any particular order, except the first two are really, I hate to say this, but like my favorite indie decks. And if you've been here, you know what the first one is, so let's get right into it. The first one is in this bag, and I'm not going to go into my whole spiel. But this is the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot, which I love so much. Look at those red edges. I really love the backs. I will say, if you don't know, that this deck is coming out mass market. I think it's already released in Australia, but in the US it's coming out in December, which is sooner than you think. I don't like the backs of the new one though. Oh no, you don't want to shuffle, do you? I like the backs of this one. I don't like the backs of the other one from what I saw, but that is a me thing. Or not that I don't like them. I prefer these backs. The other ones I think they're still reversible, but I think there's just like a feather here and a feather here that are, I'm trying to curve my finger in a way it doesn't curve. I think it's just like these leaves, but nothing in the center, and the leaves are more center. But that's a whole thing that you didn't need to know. This deck is absolutely stunning. It was created by two witches. I literally saw Avalon Cameron post that this morning. It's just so raw and beautiful. Excuse me. And intense. Very intense. But I absolutely love the images and the messages that I get from it. And I'm not going to go too much into each of the decks, but I will probably shuffle them, and I will probably show a few cards. So that is my Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot, which is probably my number one deck, as much as I don't want to say it. It is probably my favorite indie deck. The second deck is the Alpaca Tarot, and I do love this deck more than anything. In Tarot Magpie's Tarot Lab, we're doing color for November, and I just started using this deck to study with because it really has like a limited color palette. It's really only 6 colors. Maybe it was 7, but sorry. It was either I think the white made it 7 because the alpacas were white or have white fur. Oh, these cards are upside down because that was my reading for my sister yesterday. But yes, this is the Alpaca Tarot. Very simple, very blue, purple, yellow, green, and gray. And then there's also the white and the, I don't know, the other one. And then there are little pops of like black, there's pops of orange, there's pops of pink, you know. And I love the gold edges. You can see they're wearing down because I use this deck so much. It shuffles really well, and the box is super cute. Aw, and the world is on top. I love that. Okay. Deck number 3. Oh my gosh, this is really funny. I actually, from that first video, I have 3 decks that are the same, and they're all in a row, which is funny. So the next deck is the Starseeker Tarot by Nikki Ferrata. I definitely backed her Kickstarter for The Shadows We Cast because that deck looks insane. These are the backs. These are the edges. It is rose petal finish. Still shuffles like a dream. Maybe not a dream, maybe like a daydream. But yeah, we've all seen this deck, so I'm not gonna go too much into it. I'll take out a few cards. It's very spacious, very open. I like the art style. I like the color palette because it's a lot of purples and blues. And then like all the colors in here, so like black and this gray color. And it just feels very reassuring, I would say. And I love rose petal finish, so this deck is amazing, in my opinion. The next deck I show a lot also, but I love it. And that is the Cosmic Visions Tarot by Jessica Shackleton, who is now a tattoo artist in Australia. And if I lived in Australia, she would have all of my money because I would be covered in her tattoos. This is also, I think, rose petal finish, but it's easier to shuffle. So I don't know. But this deck, I have the black, oh no, sorry, no, I have the white version. There's also a version with black edges, but this one was the one that they did not reprint. And I love this deck because it is just simply so beautiful that I can't even. And I'm only going to show a few cards because there is nudity in this deck. But I like how the images are black and white and then parts of them have color to them. I think that's just so cool. And then I think there's one extra card, which is the Divine, which is my favorite card, which, let's see if I can find it. Here we go. I'm only going to show it for a second, but that is my favorite card of the deck. So that is the Cosmic Visions Tarot. The next deck is like the deck that gets me the most and that I read for others with, but now it doesn't want me to read for others with it because I had a bad experience. Oh my gosh, this deck is a little dramatic, but that kind of makes sense. I'm taking it out without showing you. It's the Tarot of Aphrodite. And it has rose, gold, pink, whatever edges. Shuffles great. And this deck just, like I said, it just gets me. And it's so pretty. It's obviously inspired by Aphrodite and a lot of Greek goddess and god. Sorry, no nudity. a lot of that kind of stuff. And it just really is able to read for me the best out of a lot of the decks that I have. I don't know when I got this deck. I feel like it was pretty early. But I also have the Venus Morningstar Tarot. And that one I've like barely touched, because this one is just the one I love the most out of the two. And I am going kind of quickly through this because I feel like a lot of these decks have been seen, except for the next 2 of the next 5. So the next deck, actually I'm going to switch it. We're going to do you and then you two and then you two. So the next deck is the Lilifer Tarot, which I've also talked about, by Marian Costentin or Marian Velasquez. This deck has one of my favorite backs. Easily one of my favorite backs. I mean, look at this. It's not edged, which is fine. It shuffles really well. You're speaking to me. The Chariot. I keep pulling the Chariot for my sister, which is interesting. But this deck, I know we've all seen, is so colorful, so open, so beautiful, so spacious, because there's so much white space used in the deck also. Yeah. It's just beautiful. And again, shuffles amazingly, has the best backs, except that they're not reversible, but that's okay. Okay, the next 2 decks are ones that are not as popular, so I may go into I may show a few more cards. The first one is in this bag. It's in a box in a bag. It is the Soft Femme Tarot by, oh my gosh, is her name on here? I don't think so. By Soft Femme Tarot on Instagram. This deck did use she did use AI to, I think, edit, but I don't really mind, or I'm not going to get into the whole AI discussion. But it's also rose petal or matte, whatever it is. And it's beautiful. Like, look at this. It very much feels like the suit that it's in, which I think is important, or at least very interesting. You can see it has renamed majors, but you really feel like you're in the suit, and it is a pip deck for the most part. I don't know, I love this deck. I love the colors in it. I love the feel of it. I loved the packaging when I got it. It shuffles so well. I know this is only a little bit, but... And I love the edges. The edges are so bright. The backs are so pretty. I wish you guys could feel this deck. Let me know if you guys have this deck. If not, I think she has more copies. And if you're not completely... I think she discloses the AI stuff on the website. And I just didn't check the website before I started filming. But she discloses all of the information on there. So that is the Soft Femme Tarot. Even the box feels like matte and soft. It's so cool. Alright. The next deck is another one that's not as known, I feel like. And this is Tarot of the Rose by Zara de Rose on Instagram. And I love this deck. It is a little bit bigger than a normal tarot deck. I love these backs also. These are very pretty backs. This, I think I have a little bit of trouble shuffling. Only because of my hands. My hand size. But This deck is also collage style. It's absolutely gorgeous. I like the real faces and the real, like, images, I guess. I don't know. This deck just speaks to me. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think I'm trying to hide the nudity. I think that everybody would love this deck as a collage deck because it just is put together really well. And it has a lot of roses in it. And this Five of Swords is kind of funny. I feel like each card tells a really interesting story, which happens in a lot of decks, but not in too many like it does in Tarot of the Rose. And there's also an Oracle of the Rose, and I believe in a Rose Lenormand, but I only have the Oracle of the Rose, which I love. And down to our last two decks. I'm going to do you first. I love the Jupiter Power Tarot. I have to look. The Mars Power and the Star Power, and I just ordered Neptune Power and Mars Power. So soon I will have all five, and it will be a full collector's moment. Maybe they'll make a Saturn one. That would be really cool. I feel like it would be similar to this though. Or the Neptune one, but like blue. Shuffle's amazing. I wish I had the blue edges, but I'm okay with, or the green edges, which were matte, but I'm okay with the silver gilded edges. But this is my Aquarius deck. This is the deck I used for my birthday, because this deck is just so pretty. So I love the color palette. Maybe I should do this one next for my color palette study. But I love the different shades of green and blue that are used. And I feel like images kind of like invert each other or reflect each other. Like these two, this is this color and this is this color. Like, that's pretty cool. So, again, I love this deck. What was that? Was that you, Talia? Are you okay? My dog is under my feet. So that is the Jupiter Power Tarot, and I love the colors. Just like, look at all these colors. It's so pretty. And I'm thinking of this now, but I should ask in the Discord for Tarot Magpie if different hues of different colors represent different things, which I'm sure they do, but I wonder what the representations are. And then the last deck that I have, I'm not sure anyone would guess that this would be in my top 10, but I feel like I also haven't talked about it since like last year, so I don't think people would know that I have it, because I really only started posting videos more recently in the grand scheme of things. But that is Remembering the Sweet Fool by Trisha Murray. I have copy 182 out of 300, so just over halfway. I love the backs, even though they're not reversible, but it's okay. I don't really read with reversals. If you care about that, you can watch my reversals rant video, but it was kind of in a dramatic era, and I said that. But Shuffle's great. I love the renaming of the suits. So points are swords, sticks are wands, cups are cups, and hills are pentacles. I would not have remembered that. But this deck is also very spacious and open. It's very evocative. Like, look at this Three of Cups compared to this Nine of Swords. Like, you can really feel or Nine of Wands, sorry. You can really feel like the distinction of the feelings between them. I wonder if I could get two cards that kind of represent not the same thing, but No. No. You know what I mean, though. I'm sure. I'm trying to, like, speed run this in my head, but it's not working. Like, if... Here, let's see if I can find the Eight of Cups. Unless I already passed it, which I probably did. Did I say ace? I meant 8. 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups. Last card. Okay. So I usually relate the Six of Swords and the Eight of Cups to each other just in different terms of, like, mind versus emotion, respectively. But in these cards, you can really feel the distinction of, like, upward movement and forward movement, which I feel like are two different things. And I'm making this up as I go along. But this is really, like, what I'm getting out of these cards, because this is more forward and, like, there's light pointing in this direction, but in this, the mushrooms are growing up, and it's more of, like, upward momentum. So I feel like I feel like this deck does a really good job distinguishing the two. And then that is my top 10 indie decks, I guess, for 2025, because I'm not expecting any other indie tarot decks until Neptune Power and Mars Power, the Gentle Tarot Dreams Edition, which I think is still next year. I think My Friend Fire is the one that's ready, and maybe one other Kickstarter. But that is my video, if you would like to see. I did have 2 that were in I had 2 on here that I took off. It was the Meraki Tarot and the Playful Heart, and replaced Jupiter Power and Remembering the Sweet Fool with those. And then Tarot of the Drowning World, I absolutely love, but I have barely used it, so I didn't feel like I could put it on here. So that is the end of my video, and I will see you next time.